This woman says, I think my boyfriend might be a misogynist. Am I reading too much into this? I highly doubt she is, but let's go ahead and check it out. So she's 32, he's 34. She says, my boyfriend sometimes says questionable things that point to some misogynistic tendencies. A lot of the time they come across as jokes, and I'm going to put jokes in quotation marks because I don't believe that these people are joking. They're just trying to cover up how they really feel and say that they're jokes. So she says, so I give him a pass, like lame jokes about women being in the kitchen, etc. He's never called me out of my name, but there have been a few occasions he's called other women B words, co-workers, women in traffic, etc. It doesn't happen often, but it has occurred. Anyways, yesterday he got invited out to dinner with some coworkers. He didn't tell me about it until after him and I were at dinner, just the two of us. He told me he wasn't really up for hanging with them and wanted to do something just us. Cute, right? Well, later on, I saw a text he sent to his coworker that says, hey man, gonna have to pass tonight. She slept all day and now I have to go home and help her play Susie Homemaker for tomorrow. I was so taken aback. First of all, I didn't sleep all day yesterday. I worked all day. Also, we had no plans to cook or do anything. So he not only completely lied to his coworker, but he threw me under the bus in the process. Why is the best excuse he can think of something that portrays me in a negative light? My feelings are actually really hurt by it. It's one thing to use me as an excuse, say I'm not feeling well or something, but to portray me as lazy or needy, I'm just really thrown off by it. Let me also point out that I'm the breadwinner and do way more chores, productive things around the house, etc. Maybe he's insecure and his first thought is to throw me under the bus. Not cool at all. I have a feeling, based on all that she has written down, that she knows that this person is a problem. People like this who lie, they have no integrity. He does not have a backbone and he wants to seem cool. He has these misogynistic thoughts and feelings about women. Women are supposed to be one thing. And this is where a lot of these people get caught up. They have these feelings of these gender roles and it's very entrenched. And this woman is more than her gender roles. On top of being, all of these things, doing way more chores, doing productive things, she's also making the majority of the money. So she already knows, where does she say, that he's insecure. She says maybe he's insecure, but he's absolutely insecure. He's lying to other people to make himself feel better and look better as far as his standing in the relationship. He probably knows that he needs to be doing more. And instead of doing that, he just makes her look like she's doing less. That is not a healthy relationship. And she is seeing this. Some of these dudes are going to have to move past these misogynistic tendencies and these stupid jokes. Siyimp asked the question, what makes you think he's joking? And to that, the OP says, valid question. Like I said before, I think that she has typed all of this up. She knows and understands the answers. She's just trying to get some validation for feeling these normal human emotions. Now, Miss Peachy King says he's not joking. He's a jerk, a misogynistic jerk. Siyimp says, sorry, girl, he's too old for childish remarks like that. You're still so young and have plenty of time to find someone to love and respect you the way you deserve. I understand you love him, but love can only do so much when he's being a misogynist and throwing you under the bus to make himself feel better to his friends. That is absolutely true. But then you have this person who comes in and he just has a bunch of dashes for a name. So we'll just call him Dash. Dash hones in on you're still so young. And Dash says, please do not listen to women who are older than you and single. We don't know Siyimp's age. We don't know Siyimp's relationship status. But Siyimp is telling the truth that this person is childish and he's too old for this. And she does deserve better than this. But we have a man that needs to come in and stay on code for the bros. Muffy says, please do not listen to bitter men. Being alone is 100% more satisfying than being in a relationship with a man who undervalues you and throws you under the bus to his friends. Dash says, I said he should apologize and probably would have made another excuse about something else. I'm bitter because I'm actually giving advice to communicate with your partner, not just the usual femcel, break up with him, girly, I'm single and hate men response I always see. Look, I'm married and I think break up with him, girly, is valid, especially if a person is a misogynist, a sexist, anyway, bigoted, or anything. I believe break up with him, girly, as someone who is married is very valid to say. Anyways, Muffy says some men just aren't worth it. If you have to explain to them why misogynistic comments and bad mouthing you to his friends are a bad thing, he's most likely not worth it, as loving partners with fully functioning brains shouldn't need that explained. Exactly. There are some things you shouldn't have to say. Why should you have to say this to some 30-year-old person? No. So here we have a woman who's 34. I think her name might say loser. So this 34-year-old woman says, happily married for almost 15 years. OP, dump the misogynist. Better to be alone than to live with someone who resents your gender. And then here we have Dash. Dash says, till jokes equal misogyny. He says, every man. This is what they do too. They make this kind of ridiculous, this ridiculous type of comment. Every man now has to walk on eggshells with their supposedly close and intimate partner, because if you make one stereotypical joke, you get broken up with. Thank God my wife isn't a femcel. We joke all the time about the opposite gender and don't get offended. So he is just trying to reduce all of the misogyny down to just like these women are just overblowing everything. We have Cosmically Melanated saying, my husband had never made a sexist joke about women. He doesn't like or enforce gender roles. He doesn't believe men are above women. Just because you and your wife think things like that are okay doesn't mean everyone else does. I think OP should have better than a man like you or her current boyfriend. Amen, Cosmically Melanated. Convenient Enemy says, life pro tip. Racist, misogynists, and a-holes will float their honest opinions as jokes first to test their audience and work to push the thresholds. And then we got Amazing Boll Weevil says, I'd say it's mostly the company he keeps. People tend to acquire some of the habits and mannerisms of those with whom they spend a lot of time, and they might not even realize it. Linguistic accommodation. I know it sure happened to me. This person, Amazing Boll Weevil, is excusing this misogynistic boyfriend right here. And then he says, I've removed this comment since people are focusing on my personal experience of group conformity instead of the social contagion I was suggesting for consideration. As a lot of people here are suggesting, it might just be him, but if you can possibly get him out of that environment, I think things might change, especially if you can articulate the problem and its possible origin. This is a lot of work. Why do you have to do that with a 30-something-year-old man? At what point are these people responsible for their own lives and their own thoughts and what they say? Absolutely not. You should not have to teach a 30-some-odd-year-old man how to speak to you well. Capital Ingenuity, a Burbie, she says, it doesn't sound like you're reading too much into it at all. I think you answered your own question without realizing it. You want to believe he's joking, but nothing about what you described actually reads as a joke. Women belong in the kitchen. Jokes aren't harmless. Calling women B words isn't funny. And lying to his coworker by saying you slept all day and he has to help you play Susie Homemaker shows how he sees you behind closed doors. People joke publicly. They reveal themselves privately. He didn't say that to make you laugh. He said it to belittle you. No humor, no exaggeration, no wink, just disrespect. You're the breadwinner. You work all day. You carry the household responsibilities. And the first excuse he reaches for is the one that paints you as lazy and needing supervision. That isn't insecurity. It's entitlement and misogyny wrapped in a chuckle, so it's easier to swallow. Sounds like you need to run. Capital Ingenuity, drop the mic right there. Here's the OP saying, I needed to hear this. She says, because I thought the exact same thing. Thank you. We need to see if the OP is going to take these words, because people are pretty much saying the same thing with the exception of the men that are trying to make excuses. But I think that she knows, and people are saying the same thing. Leave this dude alone. He's not worth it. But y'all chime in. What do you think? Another post that makes me say, let the birth rate plummet to hell and make these dudes lonelier. This was posted in the Beyond the Bump subreddit. She says, I want to smash my husband's PS5. Now, I do not believe the PS5 is the problem. It's not the problem. She just wants to take her aggression out on the PS5 when it's really just a symptom that she does not have a partner that's in this with her as far as raising her child. And obviously she says that in the rant incoming. So let's go ahead and look at this rant that is incoming. She says, how the F do I make this man-child get off his stupid game and parent his son? Our child is barely 2 and is always asking to see Dada, but Dada games from the time he gets off of work at 2 until little one's bedtime, only taking a break to eat dinner that I made. This right there would be enough to say, we need to break up because Dada is a liability and Dada does not want to participate in this household. How are you playing a video game from 2 p.m. until the kid goes to sleep? Why are you not bonding with your own child? Anyways, let's get back to her rant. She says, I do everything. I drop little one off at daycare in the mornings. If I ask husband to do it, he insistently complains, saying it takes too long. So now I do it. I pick him up after daycare as well. In between those times, I am working, but because I'm work from home right now, husband says I'm not really working, and therefore I shouldn't feel burnt out. I do all the household chores, all the dishes, laundry, cooking, and clean up because I'm usually home, and husband will make comments about me being lazy if I don't. Husband then comes in at 2. He works from 8 to 2, but oftentimes gets off even earlier, saying he's so tired and burnt out. He demands sex, then gets on his game. That's kind of gross right there. He demands sex, then gets on his game. I'm honestly disgusted by that, but okay, let's continue her rant. I get little one at 5. Husband is still on his game. I have to throw Miss Rachel on at this point because if I don't, little one will cling to my legs and make it impossible to cook. Then husband emerges from his den to eat and maybe say, thanks babe, that was good, before disappearing again. I do the cleanup, bath time, story time, playtime, and bedtime routine. Husband is still on the game anywhere from 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. On the weekends, it's worse. I get up with little one every morning around 7:30. Yes, I'm lucky he at least sleeps that late. I've been the only one getting up with him since he was born. Husband then gets up anywhere from 10 to 11. By this point, I've cooked breakfast and done all of the morning playtime. I ask husband to take little one out for a walk or to the playground because I'm tired. He bitches and complains for 20 minutes straight about how he doesn't like to take the little one outside because it's boring. Sometimes he will begrudgingly do it if I really nag him, then complain that I'm nagging him, then come back inside after 10 minutes. This man does not want to be a dad at all. He does not. This is the reason why many of these people deserve to be lonelier, because what good is he? He's not bringing any kind of anything to this relationship or the relationship with his child. She says, before anyone states the obvious, yes, I have talked to him. I have talked to him so many times for almost 2 years. Sometimes if I beg and plead until I'm hoarse, he will get up with the little one for a day. Sometimes play 5 or 10 minutes on the carpet with him. Very occasionally cook dinner, but it's always temporary and it always regresses back to him gaming 10 hours a day if I don't consistently nag and plead. And yes, I've heavily considered divorce, but I'm terrified that he's so incompetent with little one now that it'll be twice as bad once he's a single parent. If I don't constantly do everything, nothing gets done. Little one will scream and cry in his crib for an hour straight because husband won't wake up and get him. He'll sit in a dirty diaper for hours until he's rashy because husband won't get off the game to change him. He'll fuss and whine around the house bored and understimulated because husband won't play with him or even interact with him at all. Husband won't even properly feed him half the time. He'll just throw some snacks at him or forget. So I'm petrified that my child is going to experience abuse and neglect if we divorce. I want to address one thing. We did go to couples counseling once. He said he didn't like it and refuses to go again. He's also been on ADHD meds for a while, not for this. So I agree, ADHD could be a component, but he's been in treatment for it and it hasn't helped. I just want to know my baby will be okay, whatever happens. Your baby will be okay, whatever happens. But you need to get away from this man. You need to separate it, just start moving, get to another house. This person is more of a drain than anything, and your child would barely know that he is gone. This is the best time to get away from this man child because the baby is still a very young child and he'll get over it. The child will get over it and adapt. But this man is more of a drain than anything. He's not doing anything in the home. He's coming home and demanding sex and making sure that you're on top of it with cleaning, but not doing anything. Being single is better than this. There is no purpose in this type of relationship. You can't even, I don't know. Y'all say something educated because I'm confused about this one. I'll read a few of the comments. Hello, Junebug says, also, PS5 isn't really the problem. It's simply that your husband doesn't care enough about either of you. He thinks he can skate by and you'll stick around. Lenerva says this. He wants to live life as if he's a single man without kids. In fact, better than a single man without kids, as he also has a live-in maid who cooks and cleans for him. So all he does is work and then game. And currently you are letting him live that life. Sit him down and tell them things have to change. And on top of being the cook and the person that's cleaning and all of that, she still has sex with him. Ugh. How you gonna be the help, the breadwinner, and the bang maid? No. I need for us to see this and know and understand that this is not a good life to have. This is not a good position to be in. If you start to see that you are the breadwinner, the bang maid, the wife appliance, and all of that, you would do better. You would save yourself a lot of stress and energy and all of that if you would just to break up. And then Hello Junebug says, yep, if a guy's life doesn't change after kids, he's not a good partner or a father, period. Sugar Nip says this, I'm sorry to say, but it's time to say goodbye. Hello Junebug says, it sucks when you realize it's time to mourn the marriage and family you wanted and the husband you thought you had. Texas Rose says, this is exactly what I was going to say. If it wasn't the PS5, it would be something else. Has nothing to do with gaming. Has everything to do with him putting himself first. Hello Junebug then says, yep, he wanted a family but didn't want to be a dad or partner. And then Ranged PS says, yep, my partner and I are both gamers. We game when the kids have gone to bed. This has nothing to do with the PS5 and everything to do with him as a person. Melly Wheat says, yeah, not a mom or anything. This post popped up on my feed, but agreed. Doesn't sound like hubby actually cares about the OP or their kid at all. And then we got another man. He says, yeah, my wife and me also fit gaming into our routine. She plays 1 to 3 hours after I come home and care for the baby. I usually play for a few hours on a weekend, and she cares for the little one meanwhile, or the baby sleeps and we can play something together. The PS5 is a symptom, not the root here. Cool. We got some men coming in agreeing because like everyone else said, even if he didn't have the PS5, he would find some other reason to disengage from the family. It's time to just kick this person to the curb or even just pick yourself up and move away if you don't want to kick him to the curb or whatever. I don't know. Y'all go ahead and chime in. You saw earlier I was at a loss for words, but this pretty much sums it up. Y'all chime in though and let me know your thoughts. When I open up threads, it's kind of all over the place, but these are the first few posts that I see, and they are all over the place in that the timing doesn't really make sense. I don't know what the algorithm is like on threads, but these are the first few posts. Lucky Lacquer Art Nail says, if you don't open threads every day and know that the uncomfortable women run this effing app, are you even paying attention? I love it here. Then you got Good Vibes Winnie saying, maturing is realizing females are the problem in today's generation's relationships. Then you got Thy Great and Powerful Oz saying, Why does this generation of females leave a man, so females and a man, leave a man at his lowest so quickly? Now at the bottom, she's responding to thy great and powerful eyes, saying, I knew by the 1,000 comments and only 229 likes, I was in for at least 15 minutes of entertainment. Now, obviously, he has 1,200 comments and still a very low amount of likes. So let's look into that post first. But here is what she responded with. She says, I'm sat. So she sat down into the comment section, and so are we. D. Darling Nikki says, y'all keep confusing being at your lowest with doing low Getting cancer is being at your lowest. Losing your job because of layoffs is your lowest. Losing your parents is your lowest. Women don't tend to leave during those. Cheating for the 16th time isn't being at your lowest. Refusing to get a job because you're an entrepreneur working on your SoundCloud career isn't your lowest. Once you learn the difference, you'll notice women don't leave at your lowest. They leave when you're at your lowest behavior. Woo-wee. Then we got Bonated 42 saying, they leave at the smallest of inconvenience. Don't start that BS. And then D. Darling Nikki just pulled his whole card real quick. She says, part-time affiliate streamer, aspiring voice actor. I see I hit a nerve, Mr. Entrepreneur. She straight up called him out. Bonated 42 says, when people can't argue, they bring up things that got nothing to do with the subject. Hold that L. She says, it literally has exactly to do with the subject. You, my broke sir, are exactly the type I described in the comment you responded to. I guess you felt attacked. So I'd look into the reason why this triggered you so much. The sad fact is that you aren't at your lowest. Women don't leave good men for the slightest inconvenience. They leave because you're a bum. Jersey Tomato says, you are explaining it so perfectly. Unfortunately, these scrotes refuse to look inward and take accountability. And then Nikki says, it doesn't really matter. It's still so much fun trolling them. Count Your Blessings says, y'all told us to pick better men. Now you're mad because no one will pick your loser butts anymore. Tiff-tastical says, bloop. Simply Neil says, why do so few young men have the ability to discern between problems life throws at them and problems they cause themselves? Saucy Sal says, why do males use the word female and man in the same sentence? That shows you see women as objects, not people. Obviously, she's using the word male to match his energy and to dehumanize him a little bit the way they do with women. Dolly B. the Best says, I was going to call it out, but saw you did it first. What Lily found says, they do that because they see women as objects and not people. That's it. We are glory holes and trophies to them. Men aren't lonely enough. All right, now we're going back up to Good Vibes Winnie saying, maturing is realizing females are the problem in today's generation relationships. And then, yes, people are going to dig into him. Blasphemy says, why? Because we're not as forgiving as your mommy. And then Shane says, basically, LOL. Locks and Dimple says, calling women females tells me what I need to know. Women are like, can y'all just call us women? Is it really that hard? We've been having this discussion for a while now. Why aren't y'all learning the lesson? Sage is Spicy says, maturing is realizing that calling women females doesn't exactly get us in the mood. This person in the middle saying female just indicates you are low value and trashy. Atima Diva says, maturing is understanding that calling women females will never end well for you. Enjoy your dragging. And many of the comments followed suit, so I will not belabor the point that people were not feeling him calling women females. Now we're going to go back up to Lucky Lack Art Nail saying, if you don't open threads every day and knowing that the ungovernable women run this effing app, are you even paying attention? I love it here. Yes, I did go and follow her because I love that she's talking about the ungovernable women. Love that automatic follow. She says, we don't put up with nonsense. Here she is as a lioness going for the lion. Keeping Up with Shoni says, this is our app. And then she's doing this little hand gesture that women are doing on these apps. I still don't really know what this means, but I see it a lot. Freedom Shock says, I only hopped on Threads the other day, and this algorithm is on point. Y'all are fantastic. Lucky says, welcome, enjoy. And then this one, she's giving the Black Panther, where all of the women, the women warriors, they were behind, they had their weapons and they were doing all of the things that they were doing in this ceremony. Beth says, it reminds me of when we were like, there are no politics on Threads. It lasted a week. Yes, you can get all of your politics from Threads now. Lucky says, exactly. We were like, nice try, LOL. Now, this person says, somehow the algorithm actually rewards good takes, positivity, and accountability here. But it does push out misogyny. It pushes out bigotry as well. It pushes out all of these things. When I first got on Threads, I was like, oh my God, I found my people. And then the red pillars came. And then all the alpha male coaches came. And then all of the MAGA nuts came. Y'all saw all the posts straight in a row. 2 of them in a row with females. Anyways, I'm going to end it there. Well, Jade says, don't let them know. Don't let them know. But we have to let them know so other people can come. I'm going to leave it there. I just wanted y'all to see what my Threads apps was looking like today. And to end it with something that was a little bit funny. I thought that this was funny. Join the conversation, though, and let me know what you think.
Dating men in 2025 feels like teaching a fish how to ride a bicycle. It's painful and pointless. I cannot speak for everyone else, but I'm noticing a growing divergence between men and women around me. Women are making more, becoming more independent, confident, self-aware. Women are not putting up with bullshit anymore, setting firm boundaries. It's all about leveling up and create a great life for yourself. When we say we want a partner who's emotionally mature, kind, empathetic, respectful women, it is shocking to see how many men can't even meet those basic criteria. Is that really so much to ask? Because we're not asking for a perfect man. We're asking for the bare minimum standard of a normal, functional human being. The men are staying where they were, if not regressing. But honestly, I think the growing gap is a good thing for women because it forces us to finally realize the fundamental truth is that relationship, marriage, motherhood is not the ultimate mission of a woman's life. The real mission is to build a fulfilling life for yourself. What we need to focus on is building our confidence, how to make more money, elevating the quality of your life. And when you focus on those things, you will realize how incredible your life can be.